Hello and welcome to DIY Therapy. As always, we'll start with our disclaimer. This podcast is for educational purposes only. It's not designed to diagnose or treat. When beginning any exercise program, it should be reviewed and discussed with your medical professional prior to beginning. Information on this podcast is not designed to replace medical treatment. My name is Will. With me as always is Andy. I'm speaking too fast, so I need to slow down so I enunciate words.
What? Couldn't understand the word you were saying.
Was it too fast?
Yeah, way too fast.
I'm not going to do that.
By the way, this is take 12 now.
Yep.
Yeah, we've officially gone through
if
mic test, and then failed. Mic test, failed. Then
if we go to 13, it's just we're canceling.
It's over.
Podcast over.
Yep. So how's everything going?
Everything's good. You're back from vacation.
Yeah, Gulf Shores, right?
Yes, Gulf Shores, Alabama, on the Gulf side of the... Yeah, they're like Gulf.
That is Gulf Shores.
Yeah, I know.
Whoops. Geography 101.
Just playing on the beach. The kids' first interaction with the ocean.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. They've been to beaches before, but not like where it's salt water. And so
sure.
Every time they're like, this water tastes terrible. Like, yeah,
yeah, it's not a lake.
It's mostly fish pee anyway.
I thought you said whale pee.
I mean, I don't really know.
50%, right?
When you start Googling that, he's like, how much of the ocean is it auto finishes to whale pee.
Does it really?
Yes.
A lot of interested people out there, huh?
I mean, there's at least enough to whatever it triggers the auto completion for that.
Yes.
I don't know what the threshold for that is, but it's enough people decided that was the question they need to ask.
Google data mine, so they're always thinking.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Is deep squatting bad for your knees?
Yes. I mean, no. I mean, yes.
I mean, maybe.
Could be.
Probably not, but maybe.
Sure. No. So it's funny because I mean, obviously, from a blanket kind of answer, no, deep squatting is not bad for the knees.
If you're an average person who just walks in healthy, no problems.
Yeah, deep squatting not bad. So after a lot of times, what you'll see is that individuals will actually get into big deep squats, either using the restroom and or getting down on their getting down by a riverbed, something like that. Deep squatting is something, and these people are in their 60s and 70s. So deep squatting traditionally is not, and it's something we've been doing as a
species for. Ever?
Yeah, for a long
before
time.
We invented chairs.
Yes.
Char.
And so really it's only into our kind of the industrialized nations that we tend to have difficulty getting those deep squats because we get out of that habit or habitual pattern early on in our lives.
You lose a lot of... It's mostly just not even the strength, it's the flexibility of it.
It's flexibility, yeah. Specifically in the hips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some of it is, I think, ankles too.
Yeah.
Ankles are overlooked in that.
Mm-hmm. So, no, deep squatting in general is not bad. Now, really what we want to probably tailor this podcast for is, okay, well, what are the specifics in terms of like the angles of the squat that you want to avoid for maybe a few specific injuries?
Yep.
And then also if you're trying to work maybe, your glutes versus your hamstrings or your hamstrings versus your quadriceps.
Right.
There's different angles of a squat that you can actually focus on to where you're going to get more workout into that area, or angles that you want to, say, avoid if you have an ACL injury versus like a meniscus injury,
right.
Those types of things. So with that being said, I don't know, what do you want to start with there, Will?
Let's probably...
Maybe, do you want to start with avoidance first?
Yeah, let's start with avoidance first. That's more our specialty. If you have an ACL, the angles you'd want to avoid.
Yeah. So
because you want to squat, you want to
load the joint.
Yeah, after your doctor clears you and everything like that, and you're done with you can fully go on and start strengthening.
Yeah, so let's first define like the angles. You want to describe the angles, like how we're measuring this angle.
Okay,
so a straight knee.
Yeah, so straight standing is 0.
Yep.
And if you're sitting in a chair and your knee is 90 degrees, so you have to kind of look at there's are we going to talk about the hip angle? Ignore
no,
that.
let's not talk about the hip angle.
So that then when you're sitting at a chair, most people, unless you're either really short or really tall, it's roughly 90.
Yep. So anything below, so basically as you're getting closer to going straight, you're going below 90.
Yes. The
90
lower you go, the more the
larger the angle.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of what we're trying to define as, or the kind of the standard we're going off of here. So if we're looking at, if you say have an ACL injury, okay, you're really looking at trying to avoid actually squatting anywhere from 0 to 60.
Yeah, okay. So that's kind of a mini, what you would kind of call a mini squat.
Yeah, a mini squat, which there's more forces being placed through the ACL in that mini squat. So that's kind of backwards in terms of what many people are going to think. They're going to think that if you go into a shorter, smaller squat,
there'd be less pressure there.
Yeah, less pressure, less strain on the ACL, and therefore safer, which in actuality, it's going to actually create more strain on that ACL. And remember, early on in the ACL repair, you're really looking to try to limit the amount of strain and stress that's being placed through that new tendon, or how that tendon is attached, so that it doesn't rupture or have any other damage. So that's really where you want to. You also want to think about that just getting up and out of chairs. A lot of times people will sit in a higher chair after a knee injury, thinking that, hey, that's not going to place as much strain or stress through that knee. So just things to think about in terms of an ACL injury. The PCL is the opposite of the ACL, and that's actually going to be anything that's going to be right around that 90-degree range of motion. So if you have a PCL injury, that would be
very uncommon.
It's more common in like a motor vehicle accident. They actually call it like a dashboard complex, where you'll be hit head on, and your knees will actually, like the lower part of your knee will actually hit the dashboard and tear the ACL. Yeah. Or if you fall onto your knee straight down, that can actually cause bent.
Wait, what? So you fall on your knees straight down. So I'm getting a demonstration. Oh, okay. So you land kneeling. So if I were to jump up, put myself in a kneeling position, and land like that.
Bingo.
Okay.
So there, you can get an ACL injury in that position. Also,
I thought you meant like if I jump out of an airplane.
How are we jumping out of an airplane?
Why not? Why not?
Why not say off a bench?
Fine, we're jumping off a bench and I land.
No, I like airplane. Go
fine.
What do you go with airplane?
And I land with my knees completely straight.
Yeah,
without trying to absorb any of the impact. Just land on me like I'm going to try to superhero land this thing, and I'm just going to bam, just like.
I'm terrible at describing things.
I know.
Yeah. That's why we have you around.
That's why you did the demonstration for everyone.
Yes, and this visual aid was so good.
I mean, the crowd goes wild.
So basically that's about 90 degrees is when you're putting the most stress on the PCL. So if you have a PCL injury, you're going to want to avoid getting to that 90-degree mark. You're also going to want to, the most compressive forces on the knee. So let's say you have like a meniscus injury, or like a deep bone bruise inside the knee.
Yep.
Or actually like a patella kneecap injury. Okay, that's going to create the most amount of compression in through the joint, or going to be more susceptible to compression in the joint. That's going to be between about 90 degrees, so just a little past like what you'd be in your seated position, all the way down to 130 degrees. So that's kind of the lowest range.
Yeah, so, that's basically you would have normal would be like 135-ish, but you probably would never go quite that low if you were squatting.
Yes. So if you have any type of those injuries, like I said, patella problems, kneecap problems, meniscus problems, or like a deep bone bruise.
So like a jumper's knee?
Yeah.
We talked about.
Then getting deep into that squat past 90 degrees would be something you'd want to avoid. Right. Anything above, though, would be fine.
Yep.
So, many times people have meniscal injuries or cartilage or arthritic injuries. So doing things above 90 degrees is where you want to be with that.
Yep.
Let's see. And then the last thing I think would probably be the most important to talk about would be, really what muscles we're working at in different positions. So different positions, then, if we're looking at trying to, get the glute to fire or the buttocks to fire more.
You want to fire your buttocks?
Yeah, that sounded weird.
Yeah, we're gonna.
We should edit that out, but we won't.
I'm not. But
No.
just, watch what you're saying. I don't want to have to put this in explicit.
My goal is to get it into explicit.
Oh, well, that's relatively easy.
So fire that buttocks. So this is more for like, hey, if you are weight training and you're trying to isolate something specifically.
Yes.
Or if, say, like you have low back pain and you're trying to increase your glute strength.
Yeah.
Okay. You can
Yeah,
possibly
yeah.
get into that deeper range, which is going to actually be above 90 degrees also. So anything past 90 degrees is going to be more of a glute, buttocks type muscle firing
Yep.
position. Okay. And then if you're looking at really the what would be the quadriceps, you're really about 80 degrees or above is going to help the quadriceps fire. So mini squats don't get the quadriceps firing very much. You've got to get closer to that 90 degrees. So 80 degrees is kind of that magical mark. So just above where. So like this would be perfect for like if you're doing a chair sit and you're just tapping your butt to the top of the chair.
Yeah, you're just kind of doing it. You're doing a squat. As soon as you touch that chair, you go
back up. Yep, that would get the quads pretty darn good. So anything past that would also still get the quads. You're going to get the glutes as you get deeper. So.
You mean the hamstrings?
No, glutes. I'm still talking about glutes.
Okay.
I just like talking about butts. And then your hamstrings. Hamstrings are actually going to be shorter. Smaller range of motion. So anything below 70 degrees, really 10 to 70 degrees. So mini squats would get your hamstrings going. That's where if you're going to try to get a focus on that hamstring action, you're going to want to try.
Yeah, and arguably if you're looking to strengthen your hamstrings, there's way better exercises to do that.
Yes. But you have to think about
what are you doing when you're? If I'm only doing a mini squat and I think I'm working my butt or my quads, you're not.
Yeah.
Or at least you are, but not to the extent that you think you are.
Yeah. So, just to kind of recap, there's very specific motions that you probably should avoid if you do have a specific injury, and then if you are trying to focus on specific muscle strengthening between the glutes / buttocks, the hamstrings, and then the quadriceps, there's very specific angles that you can kind of target there to try to maximize the benefit of that exercise.
Yep.
Yeah. Other than that, that's really
it's
it.
So
pretty straightforward.
The too long didn't read of this is it's not necessarily bad for your knees unless you have a previous injury.
Yeah, knee positioning too. You'll hear people talk about where your knee should be above the
like behind the knee, behind the foot.
Toes, yeah. There's actually research that refutes both of those. I mean, sometimes
it's personal dependent. Like, for me, that kind of stuff bothers it. At least my knee, so I don't do it. Whereas, if we kind of tend people to, at least in therapy, will tell everybody that just because it's generally we're seeing them, they already have the problem.
Well, and so there's there's typically less compression forces being placed on the knee when the knee does not go in front of the toes.
Yeah.
So when the knee stays behind the toes when you're squatting down, there's less compression forces. So if you have one of these compression types injuries, you're going to try to keep that knee focused behind the toes. If that's a non-issue, then it may not be something that's problematic for you.
Right.
So it again is always going to be a little bit of case dependent.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to be, monitoring that.
Yep. That's pretty much it. It's just it can be bad if you already have a problem. If not, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else? Anything else going on?
No, I mean,
I want to go see Spider-Man.
But yeah, we're now the week before Spider-Man.
Yes. Far From Home.
Yeah, Far From Home comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Any bets on whether Mysterio turns out to be a bad guy or remains a good guy?
Oh, he's definitely a bad guy. He's got to be a bad guy, right? I mean, we don't know, by the way. So
we're now telling because we haven't seen the movie yet. Obviously, the movie's not out here.
In the comics, he's notoriously.
He's a trickster. He's one of the he's one of the main bad. He's like one of the Sinister Six.
Sinister Six, I think.
Yeah. So, but in this one, he's definitively presenting himself.
Do you think he's actually from another multiverse?
I think so. Yes, because I think they want to introduce that aspect.
You think the snap tore a fabric in time or whatever?
I don't think the snap necessarily did. I think the fact that Loki stole a time, the space gem, and it jumped off, and that one never got recovered. So when Doctor Strange, not Doctor Strange, the Ancient One was describing it to the Hulk Banner, and said, once you take out one of the stones, if it don't return it,
Professor Hulk. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Technically, Professor Hulk is great, but whatever you want to. If you want to go down. Anyway.
Continue.
Once you remove one of the stones, and their solution to it was they're going to create multiple timelines. Their solution to it was replace the stones, which would have been an interesting movie in and of itself.
All of it. Yeah, exactly. Which I'd pay to go see.
Yeah, which they probably will make in 10 years.
The
Adventures of Captain America through
Captain America Part 4.
Yeah. But once he did that, there's multiple time streams. So I don't know.
Well, and they're re-releasing the Endgame this weekend, right?
Yes, with extra. I don't think there's anything overly extra, but there's a tribute.
There's something I think
clearly
they're saying that something is going to be with the Hulk at the end, and he's been the one that's been explaining the timelines more than any of the other characters.
Yes.
minus the Ancient One.
Yeah.
So I'm curious whether there's going to be something that's like a nugget there.
Where he at the very end where he's like, something seems funny.
Yeah, something like that. So, or maybe a different explanation. Not sure.
Don't know. But yeah,
you gonna go see the re-release?
I would like to.
I want to too. But
I would like to because did you see the poster that not every theater has it, but there's a poster that at select theaters they have where it's a black background, and it's hand-drawn, painted version of the Iron Man gauntlet with all the stones in it, and it just says underneath it, "I love you 3000."
Oh, did you hear the neat little?
Yes, where is it? He actually says that to his daughter or something like that.
What? No.
Robert Downey Jr. actually says that to his kid.
No, I didn't see that. Okay. But the if you count up all the minutes to all of the films, now
it's 3,000.
It's 3,000 minutes.
That's hilarious.
Now that Spider-Man Far From Home was the last one, and it adds up to exactly 3,000 minutes.
That's hilarious.
Which I don't know how they actually
calculated that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So, yeah, good for them. I mean, sure,
nailed it.
All right, so that's about it.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope. We're gonna wrap this up. This podcast was for educational purposes only. It is not designed to diagnose or treat. When beginning any exercise program, it should be reviewed and discussed with your medical professional prior to beginning. Information on this podcast is not designed to replace medical treatment. Remember, treat yourself.